right, Chad, what's your positive note for the week?
Oh, positive note?
It's B flat.
So I'm running drive at the liquor store. And I know I always talk trash about the liquor store. It's always one thing
Oh, I know
after
what this
the
is.
next.
I know what it is.
Yeah, I do. I know you know. And so does Will. But, because apparently I misspelled a word on Twitter late at night after drinking. But that's not the point.
You were thinking about this last night, just drunk. You're like, man, that guy really made my day.
But, I got this guy's order through the drive-thru, and I'm always running. Like, if I'm running drive, I'm always people in and out, so I'm always running there, where some people are like, all right. Like, they're just taking their time, but I'm always, like, running around, get them. So I get them the biggest bag of free ice, and then I also get them the can of dip he likes. Shut up, Brody. The can of dip he likes, but with the coupon on it, so it's cheaper. And he was like, you know, I always appreciate you running around here hustling. He's like, so here you go. And he gave me a tip, which was nice. But it was like he said that to me. I was like, you know what? It's nice to be appreciated around here. Other than people pissing me off all the time.
That's really nice.
Yeah, that's a good note.
It made me feel really good.
It's good, Chad.
Cute.
It's good, Chad.
I got warm and fuzzy. No, that was the whiskey.
All right, y'all. So aliens,
Mm-hmm.
right? I thought about talking about this last week.
Okay.
So now it's a little older news.
All right.
But y'all saw that whatever it was, I don't know, they found something. Someone correct me if you know more than I do, but the government officially deemed that it was not from this planet.
I did see that.
You saw that?
I also heard that got redacted and that he changed what he said.
He meant not from this like nation or something, right?
He meant not from us.
No, he didn't mean it wasn't from this earth. He meant it was like out of this world, bro.
Like they misunderstood what I was saying.
What I was trying to say was illegal aliens. Illegal aliens. The Mexicans are in flying saucers coming over the border
And they're
wall.
real.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, watch your mouth, dude. It's 2020.
The really freaky one to me is still that Navy pilot talking about seeing the fleet of drones.
Yeah.
That's really freaky. Because like we don't even do that kind of stuff.
What are you talking about?
They were flying over the ocean somewhere, and he came across a fleet of small flying objects.
Nice.
It was like
That's crazy.
It's like you can control an entire fleet of drones. Like China did. It might not have been China. I saw somewhere they, instead of a fireworks show, they had a bunch of LEDs on drones, and they flew them up into the sky, and they like danced around.
I've seen that.
That's cool.
It's kind of freaky if you put like a 9mm on it. They're just flying around, just capping people.
They're making the shape of SpongeBob while they're just mowing people down.
You know what that? Yeah. So
That's how I want to go.
speaking of that, at Hefe at work, I can say his name. He's been on the podcast, Jeff. Probably 3 weeks ago. He gets up really early. I mean, he gets up like 5 o'clock.
And that's the old man time, dude. They just they don't set an alarm. They just get up.
So anyway, he got up a little earlier because his little dog, they have a little Yorkie, was like kind of going crazy at like 4:30 in the morning, like barking stuff. And he said he's like, man, he never does this. His name is Hobbs. He said Hobbs never does this. So he was like barking up the door to go outside. So he took him outside, and then he runs outside and he like looks up, and then he sees this thing. And Jeff took a picture of it and he showed me. I have no clue what it is, dude. It looks almost like 5 or 6 dots, like lights in the shape of like kind of like a M, but not like a perfect M, but kind of like that. And they were kind of like all connected by like these like green lights. And he said it was just sitting there still in the sky, wasn't moving. And he said his dog was just going crazy barking at it. And then he said,
how high up?
I don't know. I mean, it looked pretty high up in the sky. And he said obviously he didn't sit there and watch it forever, but he said eventually he looked up and it just wasn't there. So, but he showed me a picture, and he's like, hey man, you know what this is? Like, I legit have no idea what it could even possibly be.
Sasquatch.
Yeah, could be. He could be up there. It's all 6 of them. It's like Sasquatch, Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, they're all just hanging out.
The
They're just
Yeti.
chilling.
They're up there. And
Little green aliens.
They're
Gray
getting ready to
aliens.
come. Yeah, but you know, I got to think about this. Like, we talked about that in our first podcast about aliens and if we think there's other life out there. And like, at that time, like up until recently, I was like, man, aliens would be so cool. And now that they're like possibly here, I'm like, I don't think I want anything to do with aliens. I was like,
I'm just trying to raise a kid, bro.
yeah, it sounded cool at the time, but now I'm like,
Well, I think it's interesting how a lot of movies with aliens portray them as like they're out to get us.
I mean, if we learn anything from ourselves, I mean, they probably would kill us.
One of my favorite alien theories is that there was an alien in that worked at the Pentagon in the 70s, late 60s or early 70s. I can't remember what they called them. You can Google Pentagon alien.
Yeah.
And it'll come up this whole conspiracy theory. This guy that's in like 5 photos that a bunch of people that worked there said everybody knew was an alien.
What?
But
Wow.
again, it's like all old as crap people saying it. I mean, it's
Oh my
like
gosh.
we've all watched Joe Biden talk, and it's kind of like
He's an alien.
if he was talking about aliens at the Pentagon, I'd be like,
You guys seen the thing about his earlobe?
No, dude, it's
No.
all lizard.
I tweeted
people.
about it, and no one did anything.
I see, I'm old.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You see anything about Joe Biden's earlobe?
mm-mm.
So, like, I don't know if, like, I know stuff can change as you get older, like your ears get longer and your nose-
Your ears don't stop growing, do
Yeah,
they?
but no, get this. So, some guy I saw on social media made a video about it, so I went and looked up for myself if I could find pictures. So I looked up pictures of Joe Biden from, like, when he was vice president. Okay, his earlobes were clearly detached. Totally detached, okay?
Mm.
And then now we look at him, and they're, like, completely attached. Like, totally. They don't even look the same.
That's weird. I
Is
don't
that a
like
thing that can happen? Like, I
don't
wouldn't think so.
Maybe.
Wait. They were detached
And then they are
were
attached. Yeah, it's not like
Oh,
they
you know
were.
what? I bet he got plastic
Yeah,
surgery.
you can have plastic
I
surgery.
bet he got
to do that
this
stuff.
one where they pull it back.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they
Okay.
just pinned them together.
See, okay, that makes sense. That's logical.
He looks like that too. He looks like he's
Yeah.
been pulled back.
Like for as old as he is, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I've got one for you.
What is it?
I won't say any names, but I know a guy, and y'all know who I'm talking about, whose dad
All of
owns a car lot.
Yep.
And he has a guy who comes and
That's what it was.
and he's bought quite a few cars from him. So the dude's got a lot of money, stuff like that. He's well off. But apparently, what he did before he retired was he was kind of high up in like military offices and stuff like that. And so his dad asked him, he's like, "How do you feel about COVID and stuff like that?" And the dude kind of goes, "I've already got the vaccine." But like was dead serious.
What?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And he was like, yeah, all the like the high up military people, and he's like all the politicians. He's like, yeah, we already have the vaccine. For
Oh,
this.
so is he like being legit or is
Yeah.
he crazy?
Yes.
Oh,
I wonder
and-
if they
and-
made him
that's
do
the thing.
because they're doing clinical trials. They're doing like the 3rd stage where you can just go sign up to be a guinea pig. I wonder if they just did all of the military people already.
You get your life back.
I don't know. I just think I don't know.
If
Or not.
you stay to be observed, you could get like $3 to $5 grand, but it's like a month.
Oh, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'd do that.
3
I don't
to
have any
5
plans
grand
for a whole month. Sure.
Yeah, but you have to like stay at a hospital the whole time.
I'm in.
You get like
I
free
should probably
food
be
and
in a
not
stuff.
hospital
bad.
anyway. Let's
Yeah.
go.
They provide they provide food.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, let's go.
Does that's a food
it's a
snack.
hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is there food?
I'm talking
Snack.
sloppy joes, baby.
probably not. Probably not.
While we're kind of like touching base on like previous conversations we've had, we talked about the XFL. You guys hear the news about that?
Uh-uh.
That
I didn't.
The Rock bought the XFL
And his ex-wife.
and his ex-wife.
Yeah.
his ex-wife. They're business partners. They bought the XFL.
What is it with like wrestling people for, like in the XFL?
What they want to see.
Pro WWE guys make a lot of money.
No. Like the XFL was owned by Vince McMahon with like the
who's
WWE.
also yeah.
And now The Rock.
Okay, I
bought
get what
it.
you're
all
saying.
about the
I thought you meant like
stories.
them
I
doing
guess so.
stuff.
It's the
I was like,
drama.
they have a lot of money.
They ought to make like a
Fifth-
football for like WWE where it's all scripted and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be pretty cool.
I see. That's what I'm thinking. The XFL
we should-
might be, but
Hold on a second, guys. I think I just discovered something. We should do that.
we should a scripted football.
I think
league.
I'm onto something.
He bought it for $15 million.
Wow. I didn't think you could buy it. I thought it was like Dunzo.
Well, they were
That's
like,
not that much.
It's not.
That's
that
kind of what I'm
much.
thinking.
No.
I mean,
Much
like
of a buy.
like
Something
entire
that.
like one NFL team is worth way more than that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like Jerry Jones, I think Jerry Jones paid back in the day probably like $20 million for it, and now it's worth like $100 billion. The Cowboys is or something like that.
Oh
It's
yeah,
crazy.
it's crazy. And how did he make all his money? Something to do with mining, wasn't it? Didn't he make all of his money from mining stuff?
No clue, man.
I forget.
But you know, I was thinking, they made the Redskins change their name. Does that mean the Cowboys should change their name?
It's the Washington R words now.
What?
That makes it sound like it's something else.
Isn't it just the Washington football team?
Yeah.
They're
It's
called-
the
yeah.
Washington
But like the
football
Cowboys,
team.
Cowboys and Indians, you know. Are they gonna change America's team?
When they find out that Cowboys were like always white,
It's
it's
racist.
done.
It's racist.
It's done.
Well, so JT and I,
And
till they
Indians were
find out
almost
about-
always Indian.
Yeah, wait till they find out about the Pirates.
JT and I,
The Buccaneers.
we were just going on like a drive. We were listening to music, chilling, and we were up on Mount Sequoia, and I saw that they have like up on Mount Sequoia, they have a Confederate cemetery.
You
up
talked
there.
about this last week.
Did I?
Yeah.
Damn. All right. So you said you had a hectic week or something?
Yeah, so this is gonna like really put a damper on things straight up. But
Cool.
this it's just what happened. So we were gonna go hiking. Where were we gonna go? We were gonna go hiking down by Compton. I can't remember what the trail was called. Yeah,
In
straight
New
up.
York?
No,
Okay.
Compton, Arkansas. But we decided just to go to Devil's Den, and so we basically like got back almost 4 hours earlier than we were supposed to. And we were at the exit 76, just like we were basically on the highway coming up to Wagon Wheel,
Yeah.
and there was this motorcycle in front of us. I was in the far left lane. The motorcycle was in front of us changing lanes, and they have a trailer, and it's two people on it, and they don't have helmets on. It's pouring rain. We're on the highway going 70, 75.
Oh no.
They're passing a semi in the right lane, and the trailer starts to go like this.
Oh no.
No.
And I know, just from seeing enough videos online, you have to stop, or like you cannot get a trailer on a motorcycle to stop going like that.
Yeah.
Or it's eventually just going to speed up until it throws you. You
Yeah.
have to stop. And so they start to go over, but he completely loses it on the highway going like 70. Again, no helmets. And I saw the trailer start to go like that. And I literally said, I was like, they're going to wreck if they don't stop. And so I start to slow down. I'm already slowing down. I'm in the far left lane. And they completely wipe out.
Oh man.
And I'm talking, it separates the trailer from the motorcycle. Motorcycle's on its side spinning like this. And they're on the ground, like literally sliding on the ground, spinning. She's like flat, but he was literally sitting, spinning, like on his butt.
Oh my god.
And it would have been funny if we weren't going 70 miles an hour. Like he
I'm
was
laughing
literally,
at Evan laughing at this.
he was riding his jeans 70 miles an
Did they have
hour.
leather jackets on?
No.
Oh, then they're screwed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was really bad. So I pull over. The semi was slowing down exactly as fast. How do you say this?
As they were slowing down, or
If he slowed down any slower, he would have completely run over them. I mean, it was
Oh,
like
wow.
exactly as fast as he could go to not run over them. So by the time I get all the way over to the right, Grace is already calling 911, and the lady on the phone is saying they already have calls. I mean, it was like within 30 seconds.
wow.
And so I get out of the car and I literally I run back there because there's crap all over the road, like all the cars are stopped. And this guy, like the guy is there, the guy that was in the crash, and he's like bending over at the waist over the woman. And there's like a guy kneeling over the woman, and he's like, I'm an off-duty firefighter. I was like, okay. And I look at the woman, and she's literally like eyes open, mouth open, just completely, just nobody's home.
Like lights are on, nobody's home.
I was like, is she breathing? And he's like, yeah, but like not a lot. I'm like, and she's literally pouring blood from the side of her head.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And it's raining and it's going like down into the gutter. It was literally like a movie. Like I was
Yeah.
looking at a corpse from a movie. And he's telling me he's an off-duty firefighter. I'm like,
Deuce.
I'm like, she's bleeding from the head. So I run back to the car. I got a t-shirt out of the back of the car. I run back. We were not close. I mean, we were like 60 feet away.
Yeah.
So I give him the t-shirt and he holds it and he's like kneeling over her. And I'm like, hold it to her head. I'm like,
He's like, I'm the professional.
which one of us is a firefighter? And she's literally free bleeding from the head on the pavement.
Oh my
And her
gosh.
her eyes are open, her mouth is open. You can barely see like her neck moving.
Oh my god.
And she has like a bruise, but it looks like it had been there.
Yeah. Oh.
So I didn't know. And so I hear somebody yelling. She's like, this lady comes up. She's like, I have emergency medical training. And then I look past her and I see traffic is literally like I'm facing Springdale from Wagon Wheel. Mm-hmm. It's as far as you can see past the turn. And I'm like, okay, I go back to the car. Grace isn't on the phone anymore. I'm like, we need to not be contributing to this traffic jam. So these 2 frat guys come out. Again, it's pouring rain.
Yeah.
They're in white shirts and khaki chubby shorts like you have and sandals. And I'm like, let's get the crap out of the road so people can start going again. And so we get the crap out of the road. And then we get back in the car and leave. And I pull up to a gas station so I can wash my hands because I'm like, I don't know if I got blood on my hands. And then by the time I get out of the gas station, the ambulance is already going from the wreck. It's like they backed down the on-ramp in the ambulance and picked them up and then left.
Yeah.
But, dude, it was wild.
Wow, man.
I didn't see
Anyone follow up
anything-
with that if she lived?
I didn't see anything in the news that day or the day after. So that usually means nobody died.
Right.
Because they get the obituary report.
Yeah.
And, like, I saw stuff about the accident on the news Twitter. So I don't know.
People watch like one safety thing on YouTube, like, hey, I'm a trained medical expert, okay?
Have I gone into detail about my parents on here yet? I can't
About the
remember.
accident?
Yes.
Yeah, about their
Well,
accident.
I'm
No,
not sure.
he hasn't gone
huge
into
detail, but you've
detail,
told
okay.
about it.
No. You've told that your dad, they were in a motorcycle wreck and your dad lost his leg. That's all.
You told it in a funny way. That's all I
That's
remember.
Right, that's right. Okay.
It was when we were talking about, prosthetic legs. Is that
Yeah.
episode?
Were they in a coma?
So yeah, they were
Okay.
in a coma
Yeah.
for.
You talked about. I remember that a little
while.
bit, but
But
you
yeah.
didn't explain much
so,
about it.
So they were hit by a drunk driver.
Yeah.
Wow.
At 2:00 in the morning, in 1997 in California. So like cell phones were barely a thing.
Yeah.
No one else was on the road. It was my mom's birthday. They were coming
That's right.
home, and a Jeep was coming coming the opposite direction, and the driver of the Jeep fell asleep and jumped the curb, hit a light pole, and started spinning back
wow.
towards them. And when he was spinning, like when he hit my parents, he was going 90 miles an hour.
Wow.
Jeez.
And that's after he
Yeah.
jumped the curb and hit a light pole. It hit my parents. They went flying. He woke up and drove off. Didn't even notice.
Yeah, he
that
probably
he
didn't even
hit
know he
anybody.
hit one. Yeah.
And then like my parents were thrown off the road.
Yeah.
And there was another car that came by, I guess, and they saw like a little piece of chrome from my dad's motorcycle. And they stopped and they found my dad off the side of the road, and then they found my mom. My mom went flying because my dad got pinched in between
Yeah.
the Jeep and the motorcycle, so he didn't go very far because his pelvis was split like a wishbone, and then the rest of his body flew. But my mom was flown, I think, like 20 yards. Like
Wow.
she flew through the air 20
Yeah.
yards. And so they had to go down and find a payphone and call 911.
Jeez.
And they called, and the dispatcher said, we've already got a call in for this. And they're like there's no one else around. And then they
Wow.
look up, and there's like a dude under a light pole, like in a long trench coat, and he had just folded up a cell phone and put it in, and then he disappeared.
Like the Matrix. It was Neo, bro.
He straight up disappeared, okay? And even after my parents, like, they got through, I mean, my mom had a 5% chance of making it to the hospital alive.
Wow.
I think my dad had like a 10% chance. She had more internal injuries. Her aorta was ruptured, and was ruptured and ballooning. So if she had coughed or sneezed, she would have died instantly. But after they got out of the hospital, they were trying to track down the guy that called.
Yeah.
The dispatchers didn't even have any record of the phone call. Like, they talked to the person that talked to him, and they're like, yeah, like, he called in and told us about the accident, but there's no recording. Like, it was gone.
Wow. It was divine intervention, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, and that was like, they were even...
If there's an angel, why does he choose to come down in a trench coat?
Yeah,
Like-
I know, right?
And
You're welcome.
No, I mean...
Angel just comes out because it looks badass.
I mean, this was 1997, so I guess that was...
Oh, that was the style for an angel,
It was
yeah.
the style for the angels back then.
The Matrix
owe me.
had just come out.
Trying to keep
yeah.
up with the trends.
So, like 3 days later, the guy that hit them came into the police department and said, hey, I heard you guys are looking for a Jeep like mine. I want to make sure it's not mine. And they go out there, and there are pieces of my dad's motorcycle and body in his back seat.
Yikes.
Like
His
blood
back
and
seat?
flesh. Yeah, because it was like, he was open.
Yeah.
What did he mean? Make sure it's not mine.
sure it's not
It's
mine.
yours.
Exactly! And they were able to take his motorcycle and fit it up just like a puzzle piece right
Yeah.
up against the Jeep.
So what happened to the dude?
Did he go to jail?
No.
I'm sure something happened to him.
He got 5 or 6 years probation, and was supposed to pay restitution, but he's been unemployed for 27 years.
Yeah.
In other words, he's been doing construction, getting paid cash.
Yeah.
Something.
Drunk drivers
Yeah.
was it here in Arkansas?
No, it was in California.
Oh, I was gonna say Arkansas especially. You can just drunk drive for your entire life here. Like
you're fine. Yeah.
There was a judge that had like 6 drunk driving infractions. She like one of them is straight up. She backed over a lady at 5 miles an hour at a Sonic. Still has her license.
Oh my gosh.
They just take you in. They give you probation.
Yeah.
And you keep your license here. It's moronic.
That's so dumb.
Well, and they had, like, California, they had a helmet law, so they both had helmets on, but my mom's had a visor. She still has her helmet. The visor just got completely sheared off. So
Wow.
it was like her head was sliding across the ground.
Jeez.
And the whole visor just got sheared off.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's
That's
literally
crazy.
insane.
Yeah.
To change this note a little bit, there was Will. You said this guy was running up, or this lady was running up, whatever. I'm an off-duty fireman or something, whatever. That made me think of this. So we're coming back. We
Get
picked
closer
up my
to the mic.
dad's car,
Get close to the mic.
and
Closer to the mic.
I don't have to. It's
It's fine. It's
Yeah.
actually really good.
Hey, get closer to the
dumbass.
mic.
Closer to the
so
mic.
we're picking up my dad's car up in like Wichita or something because he just bought it, and we're coming down.
Which
I couldn't hear you. You got
What kind
close
of
enough to the mic. Sorry, go.
You sure? You sure you want me to tell a story today?
I mean,
It better be good. I'll tell you that much. Tell it a little closer to that mic right there.
Yeah. So what I said was,
It's about a fist away.
Just tell a story, dude.
Are you sure? 'Cause I don't think you want to hear
Dude,
it.
please.
I'm not gonna tell a story.
It's too
anymore.
soon to start sweating. I'm sorry. Just go. Just go.
So, this dude, yeah, we're coming back from Wichita, and there's this
children
huge, like, this was one of the biggest ones, other than like at a zoo, that I've ever seen. Huge turtle, like on the side of the road, and my dad, just being this old man, was like, "Oh, let's look at this." I was like, "All right." So we get out there and we're looking at this. This thing was freaking ginormous, and this dude who pulls over, gets out of the car, and starts sprinting towards us, and he's yelling, "Biology student! Biology student!"
So?
and then he goes,
He does like, drummer!
he goes,
That qualifies him to do something.
he goes full, no, this gets better. He goes full go mode, dude, and he grabs it by the tail and slides it off of the road, and then gets down, dead ass, and goes, It was one of those things that was like, as we're watching, it's kind of like, is this happening?
You get down to, what, do you stare at it?
He's like, yeah, he was like,
That's
He's
amazing.
speaking to it. He's like, don't go across
He's
the
like,
road
that's
again.
beautiful.
don't look in
Brother.
the truth tortoise.
So we were driving home one day, and there was a big, probably not that big, but a big alligator snapping turtle in the middle of the road. And my mom, she's more of an animal person, like not as crazy as the biology student, but we got there, and she was trying to get it because it was right in the middle of the road. And we were fairly new to Arkansas. Like, I didn't know what an alligator snapping turtle was, but it was big, and like I didn't want to touch it. And she walks with a cane, so she went out there and she was trying to like use her cane to push it, and the turtle straight up grabs the cane and rips it out of her hand.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, dude. Those
We're
things are
like,
brutal.
What
Yeah.
do we do?
They don't move fast, but they can move their head real fast. It's
I'm
crazy.
pretty sure they can like take your finger
take a-
off.
They can bite
Oh,
straight through your
off.
finger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bet.
Ugh.
Dangerous.
I keep
things.
thinking that's like someone knocking on the door. It's a freaking Doge.
I'm
Brody.
sorry.
It's a Doge.
Sorry, Brody.
Small doge.
I was going to say something, but I can't remember. Oh,
Yeah, why don't you say it a little clearly in the microphone, please?
close. Almost got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
jackass.
I can't remember what it was, so we'll just not worry about it.
Cool.
Oh, there's this video of this guy that was
Don't worry about it.
there was a
Fully
snake.
prepared.
So there's this guy, and there was like some people, I should say, looking at like a snake on the ground.
Snake.
And this guy, he comes up, he comes up and he's got his phone and he's videoing. And then the guy's claiming to be I don't know what you call a snake expert. I forget, but
Herpetologist.
yes,
something like
he was
that.
claiming to be a herpetologist. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if that's right. Let me
Why
look.
do you? Why
It
do you,
is. That's right.
It's like one of the only
Jamie?
ones I would know. Jimmy,
Yeah.
pull that up.
Hey, Will, pull that up. Anyway, he claimed he's going to be one of those herpetologist kind of people that knew a lot about snakes. And
I hope that's completely
I swear.
Amphibians and reptiles.
Yeah, it is. I'm telling you.
Wow.
And so he's like spouting off about it, and this dude comes up and he's videoing. It's his perspective, and he just grabs the snake, and the dude's like, "Oh yeah, I was about to do that."
I could do that. I just didn't want to.
I was about to do that.
You ever seen that video of that dude? He's in that big like snake pit or whatever, like I guess entertaining, and the snake kind of almost like takes a bite out of him. And he just
He smacks it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but those have been. I've heard those like they've been like defanged or something like that.
oh
Yeah, probably.
Like those
Even-
ones that like let kids play with cobras, like they've been like either defanged or devenom, whatever, the
even
venom
still,
glands or
dude,
something.
like yeah, that
Yeah,
I
I've
don't know.
seen
Even
that.
still,
He
it's like
smacks
that's some
the
like big
crap out
balls.
of
Yeah,
it.
just like
Okay, I had a story.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I got in an argument with somebody about this story. I need you to tell me if I was the jerk here.
Oh, I've got one.
Because
I've got one after you.
I don't think I was the jerk here. If it wasn't COVID time, then I wouldn't have done this.
Okay.
I was in Walmart, aka the land of chaos and pain.
Yeah.
It's a layer right now. Walmart, especially in Rogers, I don't know how it is here. It is a layer of hell. It is like the 9th circle of hell, the farthest from God's light. And I was going. I got all of my stuff. My cart's full. I go to the cleaning section. So I'm walking back across the entrance, and there's like those short aisles by the drug section that you can see over. This lady comes in from the drug section. No, from the main entrance past the drug section. I can see her over the aisle. She doesn't see me. She pulls out right in front of me like carts. We almost T-bone. And so when I'm at Walmart, I'm just laser focused. If you my philosophy is if you don't make eye contact with somebody when you're walking towards them, they'll move out of your way, and that makes everybody's life easier.
Yeah.
It makes everybody's life easier. If you don't look at them, they'll move out of your way, and then you don't have to do the dance.
Yeah.
I hate the dance.
Yeah, I feel that.
So this lady's out in front of me. I just ghost her. I'm just stand perfectly still like a statue. And Grace is behind me. I don't know what she's doing. I didn't see what Grace was doing. Maybe they were syncing up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I stand perfectly still. And this lady, she on her own, she's looking at me. She goes, and she's like 35 maybe. It's not like she's mentally impaired.
Yeah.
And so I'm just perfectly still. And then she's like, backs up. And I'm like, I wait a second, wait a beat. And then I go. And she says, as she stops, she says, oh, excuse me. I go. I just totally ghost her.
Yeah.
And then she says, I said, excuse me.
Yeah. I said nothing.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I didn't say, am I the jerk?
Oh, is that it?
Yes.
Oh, no, you're fine.
No, yeah, you're good.
You should have done. You should have
Well,
done.
hold on. Here's
How
the
do
thing.
you respond to that?
Here's the thing.
I can't believe a stranger was scolding me for not responding to them in Walmart. I'm like,
When she almost runs into you.
we're wearing these masks so that we don't spit on each other. So why are you talking to strangers out here?
You should have done the whole. You know nothing.
You know nothing. You know nothing. You
Yeah,
don't know
dude.
how this Walmart works.
So was she like behind you when she said, I said, excuse me?
As I'm
She
passing,
just like stopped and just like done.
I really almost did. And I feel terrible about this one. This is a short follow-up. But I was in Walmart. It was jam-packed. This was like 2 months ago. I feel bad about this one, but this was just a reflection of my mental state. This was my inner id, my ego coming out, the lizard brain inside me. This lady in Walmart, I'm in the chip aisle.
Oh, dude. Don't get me started on the chip aisle, dude.
Chips and wine.
Yeah.
And so I'm going, this lady, it's like, you're on the right? In Walmart, you go on the right.
Like driving.
You're on the right side.
It's like driving.
I'm on the right side. This lady, she passes me and turns from the left to the right. So she gets in my lane as she passes me, runs over the heel of my shoe.
Oh, man.
And she says,
Not Will's shoe.
not my shoe.
Yeah, dude. That's an issue.
And so, that aside, she says, oh, I'm sorry. That it hurt, okay? It hurt. She ran over my heel.
What kicks did you have on?
I don't remember.
Oh, see, that's what I was really
It wasn't like
wondering
my Yeezys or it wasn't anything
about. Would
crazy.
have been game on.
I would have been throwing elbows, bro. I would have been climbing shelves and like, But she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And I just said, you will be.
No, you did not.
I did.
You did not.
I did. And I feel really bad. And we left the aisle, and Grace was like, you will be.
That's awesome.
Why did I say that?
That lady for the rest of her life. That lady for the rest of her life in Walmart.
She's like laying in bed at night, like
never run over anybody.
She goes down the
else's
chip
heel
aisle. She's
ever.
like,
what are we doing? Run over people's feet?
you will be. That's awesome, dude. That is like so. Like, I couldn't picture anyone else doing that.
It's indefensible, is what it is, and it's shocking. And I should be punished for it, but I won't be.
No,
and that's
dude,
just how the world is.
That's a story that will live on forever, bro.
Yeah.
She'd be like, one time I said, excuse me, this guy in Walmart, and he was like, you will be.
I'm
Should've
still
said that to your
waiting for
And
grandkids.
everybody will be like, "What'd you do?" And
Yeah,
then they'll be like,
I was about to say, if I was her, what do I respond to that with?
"You should
Okay.
call the police." Frankly,
You will be.
That
Okay.
is, I guess, technically a threat.
You will be.
I feel like if that
I'm
happened to
sorry.
me-
If you're
that
watching,
happened-
I'm sorry.
if that happened to me and they're like, you will be, I was like, probably not.
Probably not,
Probably
though.
not.
That's so funny, dude. That's like, that's just, I don't know, dude. That's like in the South. That's like so something that you wouldn't expect to happen. Just like, so like I was gonna say, whenever you didn't say anything back to that lady that said excuse me, it's like for some reason in the South, like you're expected to do that.
Yeah,
And, like,
it's like
in the North, like, you know, no one cares or anything.
Yeah.
But like
It's
down
too
here,
cold.
it's like, excuse me, and if you don't say anything, it's like a big deal.
Yeah,
What,
like,
how do you respond to "excuse me"? What
It's
are you
okay.
supposed to say?
You're just
It's
like
fine.
well, or yeah, like, oh, I'm sorry. I just be like, yeah, whatever.
like a nod would have spared me that probably, but I didn't. So here we are.
Do you ever? I guess this sort of goes off that. Do you ever like have a thought or like something you think about something
Rarely.
that happened to you a long time ago that you can never change and do anything about, but it's still there? For example, when I was really young, I was still in Texas. It was like I was at school, and I knew I was getting checked out that day for a thing, and so I'd gone through part of the day already. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be a nice guy. I'm gonna give my teacher the heads up. Like, that was my thought process. Like, you know what?
I think you've told me this.
I was like, I'm gonna give him a heads up. I'm just be a swell guy here. So, my teacher is
What
talking.
age?
I was in like
Yeah,
first grade.
young.
Like, yeah, I was
okay.
really young.
Were you at Bernice Young?
No,
No,
Texas.
Texas.
Oh, in Texas. Okay.
Yeah, and so I went up to my teacher, and she's talking with another teacher, and I just go, "Hey," I'm like, "I'm getting checked out, by the way." Like, and then she like sarcastically says to the other teacher, she's like, "Are you?" She's like, "I didn't hear anything. You hear anything?" They're like, "No." And they're like, "Why don't you go sit back down?" And I was like, "Okay," but like at the time I was like, that was weird. But now, like looking back, I realized they thought that I was saying like right then in that very moment that was happening.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to let them know. But I can never explain myself to them like that ever. I don't even know
Yeah.
their names. I don't even
But
know.
why?
what
But why would they assume that you were just like, I'm leaving now?
they- yeah.
Why would they?
Because he's a first grade kid.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Being on.
Yeah, I was like, hey, you know what? Piss off. I'm out.
Yeah, I it's so crazy. Like, I feel I've tried to make it in my head. Obviously, Ruby's not in school yet, but when she gets there, I'm always gonna try to have like an open mind, because I remember specifically like some instances where a teacher would do stuff to me that like definitely crossed the line as like being mean and stuff. And then like I remember I told my mom one time that like, so I had this really hateful fourth grade teacher, and she was old and crabby. And it actually wasn't my teacher. It was like the other fourth grade teacher. But like once a day, we would swap classes for something. I can't remember what. It was like some activity group where their fourth grade class would come to our room. We'd go to their room with their teacher. Doesn't matter. Anyway, like we were done with class, and it's like we were just waiting 5 minutes to swap back. And I took a sticky note and folded it and drew a mustache on it and put it on my mouth, like a mustache. And we were just like with my group of 4 people, just whatever. And then she's like, Evan! And I was like, what? She's like, you better have that mustache on every day when you come into this class if you're going to clown around like that. And so she like seriously wanted me to wear this mustache every day to class for putting it on my mouth. And I was like, okay. So I went out and like I cried in the hallway. And
So did you put it on every day?
no, so listen, so I went home that night and I told my mom what happened. And she obviously thought it was ridiculous. And so she comes to school the next day and goes to talk to that teacher. And the teacher's like, yeah, I didn't do that. My teacher's like, yeah, he was in there. Oh, no. She was like, yeah, he was in there clowning around, putting sticky notes all over himself and all over other people and being ridiculous. And she made up this whole thing and made it seem like I was a liar. So
I have a story just like that. I feel like I told it, though. I told about the kid jumping on my back. Did I tell that one?
No.
Okay, I told that recently, but not here. There's a really... You have to know this to understand my side of the story. There's a really short, skinny kid in my... What was it? It was sixth grade class. So I walk into our classroom one day, and me and this kid kind of had beef, but it was like sixth grade. So I went to private school, so we were all like friends.
Yeah.
But me and this kid had as much beef as we could. And so I walk into the classroom, and somebody, to this day I don't know, jumps on my back. And I was like 70 pounds. So I fall forward because they jump on my back. I fall forward into my friend Cameron, and he falls into a stool at the front of the classroom, and the teacher's in the back. So the kid who jumped on my back leaves my back because I already fell. So I fall into Cameron. Cameron's on the stool. We're on the ground. I don't know where Cameron grew up. We were great friends, but he comes up like this. And we're at private school. And I come up like this. Because somebody just jumped on my back.
Yeah.
And the teacher's like, office. Because she sees both of us. We go to the office. I'm sobbing. I'm in sixth grade. I got in trouble 3 times that year. I never got in trouble in school. Ever.
Yeah.
I got in trouble 3 times that year.
Yeah.
I'm in the office. I'm crying. The principal who comes in, his son was in my class. His son played all kinds of sports. They were like, he's a staff kid. He was like this super popular kid in our 7-person 6th grade classroom. Yeah. And he didn't like me for whatever reason. Like, the reason I got in trouble so much is because of this guy. So he's like, what happened? And I'm like, somebody jumped on my back. I fell into Cameron. Cameron fell into the stool. Now we're here. And he's like, oh, so somebody jumped on your back.
Oh, nice.
I was like, because that's so hard to believe. We're in 6th grade. And so I had to go home and like write a Bible verse 50 times, and I got after school detention. That was like a big deal. You had to stay like 20 minutes after school.
Did I?
I'd be like, yeah.
Did I tell you about the time that I got ISS for my phone?
No.
Not my phone, my friend's phone. This goes to show you how stupid. So y'all went to Hellstern, right?
Yeah.
I went to Helen Tyson.
I went to Hellstern. He didn't.
I didn't. I went to private school until Central.
Okay, so I went to Helen Tyson.
I didn't.
And
Yeah.
You stay out of this conversation.
Stay out of here. Stay in your lane, brother.
Anyway, so I didn't have a cell phone until I was like a sophomore in high school. At least like a real cell phone. Anyway, my friend had a cell phone, and obviously I thought a cell phone was the coolest thing ever. And of course, it was a little flip phone, and I would use it sometimes. I feel like I may have told this story. Stop me if I have, but I went to the bathroom one time, and I would ask if I could use his phone, and I'd take it, and like one time I called my mom or texted her to see if she'd check me out because I wanted to go home, and she would or whatever, or I'd call her and ask her. And then sometimes he had like the little, if y'all remember, like the filters on your like camera phones, like sepia, like gold one, all that. And I'd take like stupid pictures of me like in the bathroom stall, like doing the stupid stuff. And so he would see it later and it'd be funny. Anyway, one day he gets his phone taken away in class. Listen, come on, y'all. Be pure-hearted here.
Yeah, like you were for my story.
Yeah.
Jackass.
I was just thinking of that music video you filmed.
Yeah.
I just had that in my brain.
Can we show that on here, please?
Cut to it.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, so one day his name was Corey. He got his phone taken away in class, and I guess it's a thing for 7th grade principals to look through the phones of the students they take, or look through the phones of their students' phone. I don't know.
Look through the students' phones that they take.
I don't know what I was getting at. Anyway, I guess that's a thing they did. So they went through his phone, and they found the pictures I took, and they could tell it was in a bathroom. And they looked through his call records and texts and saw that I made calls in school hours. So they call us to the principal's office, and then they're like, "We got you." Like we had already had some like beef with I told a story about how a teacher had like grabbed me by the shirt and like thrown me out of class or something. Mm-hmm. So we had already kind of had some run-ins with the
law,
the vice principal. And anyway, now she was like acting like I was on the FBI's most wanted. She's like, "We got you now." Like me and Corey both was like, "We got you. We have all the proof. We got you."
Finally.
Yeah. And then so they give me ISS, and then they give him OSS because it's like his second offense. And then like I don't know how they got it in the.
Wait.
That seems so severe.
Yeah.
Is OSS worse than ISS?
Out of school.
It's
I know
out-
what it is. Okay.
It's worse
I
because
may
you have
be
to.
homeschooled, but I know what abbreviations are.
It's
okay?
supposed to be worse.
You have to do all the work, but you don't get to be at school for it. So you have to take all the homework home, and you like miss class time. It's like the weirdest punishment ever.
They pretty much throw you. They don't. You basically just don't learn the stuff, which you don't in ISS
So
either.
I went
but
through 12 years of OSS.
Yeah, basically.
Cool.
yeah. But anyway, I don't know how they got into his phone the first time, or unless they got a hold of him by himself without me knowing. But they called us to the principal's office, and I guess maybe his phone died and it had to recharge, and you had to unlock it. And they made him like put his code in and everything so they could unlock it and go through it all. And so like my mom and my dad, I guess, they got a call from the school, you know, saying that, oh, your son's in trouble and we're gonna have to give him ISS and blah blah blah. They didn't really say what for. So my parents are like mad. They're fuming. They call me like, you're in so much trouble when you get home. And I tell them, I'm like, guys, I was like, Mom, remember that time I called you to come check me out? And she's like, yeah. I was like, that's what this is for. And she's like, really? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, that's stupid. I said, yeah. I said, but there's nothing I can do about it. So
At least they were cool about it.
Yeah.
It's always worse when you get in trouble at home too.
yeah. So I had 2 days ISS. It really wasn't that bad.
Like,
See, when I was in school, like I did go to public school for 4 years.
Oh, okay.
I was like through 4th grade,
Oh.
Okay.
but back then,
And then you had 12 years of.
yeah,
That's what you just said.
I know.
So you had 16 years of
I
schooling.
mathed wrong.
All right.
That's fine. They didn't have cell phones back then.
Yeah, in the Stone
It was
Age.
easier. It was better.
It was better.
so
Your dad's like, he throws his leg at you. He's like, quit texting in class.
so one time, this was my first
I'm
day.
gonna kick you with this.
Actually, sorry. I found out at the age of 6 that my dad could hop faster than I could run.
Oh, wow.
Because when he was in the shower, I hid his leg.
Oh, shoot, dude. Oh, man.
That's just a good prank right there.
That's a
was
good prank.
hilarious.
That's a good prank.
It was pretty great.
So he come hopping at you, junk and all, just like out.
Yeah.
That's literally horrifying. That's traumatic. That's why you are the way that you are.
He turned around and looked. He's like, Charlie. He looked around. He's like, just paralyzed in fear.
Just coming at you. Like with a towel, but it's not covering where it should.
Yeah. It just falls down.
Like wings. He's silhouetted.
All right,
So,
Chad, what do you got?
Okay, thank you.
He listens to this, watches this now.
That's awesome.
Yes, he'll laugh.
So, we
Sorry, Chad. I love you.
You got to follow that up.
there was so it was my first day at in school in Arkansas. My very first day,
What grade?
first grade. Well, it was like halfway through the year we moved here.
I thought you said first grade. Oh, yeah, go. Okay.
Thank you very much. So, fun
yeah.
fact, if I recall,
Liar.
Fun fact, if I recall, the day I was leaving from Texas was the day I was supposed to get checked out, which is where that story's from, if I remember right.
Oh, okay.
But
Interesting.
and then my very first day here in Arkansas, I'm in school,
So it's like,
and
I'm getting checked out. And they're like, yeah, sure you
Yeah,
And I will
sure.
And then
never
he
be
gets
back.
checked out, and he never comes back.
To this day, they're like, what happened?
it means peace among worlds. So, I'm in Arkansas, my first day of school. I'm going through the school day, and then we have like silent reading time. This was back in the time when I liked to read books, and this is probably to the reason that I don't read very many books now. So I'm sitting here, I'm reading a book. First day here, I'm just sitting here, I'm reading. I'm on my own time over here. I'm freaking locked in. Next thing I know, teacher's standing over me, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Reading a book." And she's like, well, we're not doing that right now. So apparently I just read through whatever she started talking. I was like, all right, guys, we're finished or something like that. And she got everybody up in a group. And I just wasn't there. I didn't hear it. And so next thing I know, she's like chewing me out in front of all the kids about me not participating with them. First day. Everything ruined.
You're in trouble on the first day?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Like, I just didn't
Also,
hear her.
not surprising for Chad.
Yeah, I mean, that totally checks out.
But yeah, I just like didn't hear her say like,
I'm having a hard time believing that, dude. Okay, I believe you, but it's like, who doesn't like, all right,
People
kids.
so angry.
They're like, okay, kids, let's do this now. And you're just like, not hearing any of it.
I also
Will
got in
reads
trouble.
books.
I got in trouble for reading in school. I did too.
Like, but for that?
Yeah, same
hold on,
thing.
hold on.
Same
I was
thing.
about to say,
Class
Will-
would start and I was still reading, and they would come and they would close the book in my hands, like with my hands on it.
Because you just didn't hear him because you were reading?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eat shit.
Checks out.
So, yeah, I just didn't hear her, and she got mad at me and was like,
Checks out for chat.
well, I told you this was a time in which I like to read books, which is probably part of the contributing factor why
He's
I don't
never
like to
read
books
again.
now. And so,
Never picked up another.
and so, she got mad at me. She was like, well, we're doing this now. Yada, yada. You need to sit down with the rest of the students. I was like, okay. So I sat down and feeling very defeated and embarrassed in front of all these people I didn't know. And that was my first.
You know what's so weird is like as a kid, I guess you're so intimidated by adults. It's like you don't want to say like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just didn't hear you."
Yeah, like I gave no
I was
explanation.
terrified.
Yeah,
Terrified.
and I mean, I get it. Like, and I don't know why we are that way, or like
It's
why
like,
kids are that way.
If I knew all the information I knew now, I'd be like, bitch,
like-
I was reading. I didn't hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. My first grade teacher, I was terrified of her, and I thought she was so old and crotchety, but she was like 40. Like to this, I see pictures of her, and I'm like, oh. Like I literally thought she was like 76, and I knew she was single, so I was like, her husband died already. No, she was like 35 maybe.
wow,
And I was so scared of her. She would make kids stand in the corner.
oh god,
And now I've seen Blair Witch, and that's like really freaky. Like I have a vivid memory of this kid from our class standing in the corner because he kept talking, and he's just standing in the corner, literally sobbing, just standing there with his arms at his side.
Or like there was another time as a kid. We were in class and we had the this was before they had the Elmo things with the camera. It was the overhead.
yeah,
Right, they put those things up.
the clear slide.
Yeah.
So she had the overhead on, and we were doing like different problems for something, and I very distinctly still remember her saying, "All right, on 3, we're all gonna say the answer." Like, and she goes 1, 2, 3, and I just yelled the answer, and she got mad at me because nobody else said it. I wonder if I misheard it or something, but she got mad at me.
Don't yell the answer.
Well, like, and sent me out in the hallway, and I was like, "What the heck?" I was in here learning, giving my answer,
Learning.
which
explains so much.
I was about to say, I feel like these are traumatizing acts that made me like through high school. I was like, it don't matter.
Because you, as long as I've known you, you have really hated reading. You've hated reading things.
like.
And we were reading something, like doing different problems for this reading thing we were doing, and I very much so remember the answer. I don't remember the problem, but I remember the answer was the lion.
All right.
Checks out.
And I yelled it.
Checks
And I
out.
yelled it, and she got mad at me.
That's trauma. The fact that he remembers trauma.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So
And
did you
now I
guys
don't
ever?
read books?
Did you guys ever have? So I don't know how each like middle school or elementary operated. Do you guys ever have to have like agendas?
Yes.
And we had to keep them perfectly,
Yeah.
and they would check.
Yeah. Okay. So in mine, you would get W's. It was a warning, and like if you got so many warnings, you know things would happen like in a week. So at every end of every week, or maybe it was every 2 weeks on a Friday, they called it Hollywood. It was just playtime, whatever. In 6th grade, at the end of the day, you could just hang out and play games and something. Anyway, if you got like 2 W's in that time, you didn't get to do it. I guess that's not really relevant completely the story, but what happened one time, I got in trouble because I had a teacher. His name was Mr. Smith. He was my homeroom teacher, and he was going around doing something, and you know, whatever he was doing, you wanted him to like come to your desk and like write. So I don't know what it was. And anyway, you know, everyone's like, yeah, Mr. Smith, and I'm like, hey, Mr. Smith, blah blah blah. Then I'm like, hey, Smitty, and then he's like, go outside. I was like, okay.
Was he Mr. Ford?
It's pretty much, dude. And so I sit outside. I'm like so confused and scared, like what's happening. Then like everyone goes to their next class. It was first period or first whatever. You go to homeroom and then you go to your classes. And so like everyone's about to go to their class, and so everyone comes out and he's like, Evan, come here. And he's like, give me your agenda. And then you know, your parents are supposed to sign your agenda like every day or every week or something, at least in hours. Mm-hmm. And so
That's crazy.
if they saw you got a W, they'd be like, what the crap was this? I always sign my parents' names, but anyway, he wrote W disrespectful, and he gave me a quick talk about how that was so disrespectful, and I was like, all right, dude, just walked away.
Smitty.
I should have been like, I should have been like, all right, Smitty, calm down.
Yeah, so there was one time at the incredible school of Central Junior High where I'm just going to say his name, I don't even care, Coach Jones. I had him for like first period math.
Yes, that is Coach Jones at Central Junior High.
And
Doxing people.
he was one of those people who was like, you have to have your agenda to go to the restroom. Like, and so I just never ever went to the restroom and
Do you not have your agenda?
No, I never bought one. You had to buy one. I was like, screw that. I'm
you
not doing that.
did.
Yeah, so I never bought one. And then one time it happens. I have a really bad, because I would get them from time to time. I got a really bad nosebleed in class. I went up.
Bleeding
Yeah,
out.
no, like it is like everywhere. And I'm like, yo, can I go to the bathroom? Dead ass. No break character. He goes, do you have your agenda? I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
He was the football coach too.
Yeah.
So
way
he
you
was
did
kind of
that.
Yeah, no,
nonsense
not just
about
the
it.
football coach. My
Oh yeah, you
football
were in
coach.
football.
And so, yeah,
Your
he,
impersonation, that was awesome. Do you have your agenda?
that's exactly what it was like. And I was sitting there, I was going, is this happening? Like, what's happening?
I had him for like 2 days when my schedule got flipped, like after Christmas one year, and it was like really scary
Dude,
because
what is-
I'd only heard him talk about how scary he was, and I had was
You've
it
only
Miss
heard
Pettit?
him talk about how scary he
Chad.
is?
Chad.
Oh, Chad.
Yeah.
Talk about how scary
Was it Miss
Okay.
Pettit? Was she at Central? I was gonna talk about like your agenda. My 9th grade year at Central, our math teacher would give us homework, but we had to keep it until the end of the unit, and then we got like a cover sheet, and we had to staple it all together and
That-
check off all the boxes.
That sounds familiar.
What do 9th graders do with homework?
Yeah.
Lose it. It's gone. I do it. It's gone. And so
Dude.
there was one unit I had to catch up like 90% of the homework overnight because I just couldn't find it.
Yeah. So that reminds me, like, so this is the same thing in 6th grade, which is the Schmitty thing. It was 6th grade when we had our agenda, which, 6th graders and keeping papers, like, enormously even worse than a 9th grader. So at the end of the semester, they all had, like, a big game day. Like, the whole day you just got to play games, and, they had a schedule of different games and different people, whatever. But if
I
you
feel
have...
like you guys are always explaining to me how public school works.
Well,
It's
we're...
because you don't really understand here.
Yeah.
It's
Netflix
fine.
shows don't do it justice, okay?
It doesn't make any sense.
Anyway, dude, so if you didn't have all your work turned in from the semester, like, you had to do it before you could go. Like, that day you had to work on it until you were done, then you could go play.
Yeah.
But they didn't, like, keep files or, like, saved documents of the assignments, and you were just supposed to have it from 2.5 months ago.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't have it, and I was like, well, do you have another copy? And she was like, no. I was like, what do you want me to do? I was like, and then I, like, went and dug through my locker, and one was, like, crumpled up, like, at the bottom of the locker, and I was like, you want me to turn this in? Like, okay, there you go. Stupid. You know nothing.
You know nothing. They know nothing.
I can only think of one time where I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal, but like for me being a little kid, I was like, I had some big balls for this moment. So I forget what I did, but I did something, and
No.
like maybe I didn't do work or something like that, and I was supposed to miss recess for it. Well,
Psych.
the thing goes out for recess. I just scoot out the door. I leave. I go out to recess, and there was even another student whose name escapes me, who was like, Miss So-and-so, I forget the teacher's name. These are irrelevant names. She was like, she said you're supposed to go back in to class. I was like, she didn't tell me nothing. She definitely did, but like she didn't. But I just stayed out there, and then I go in after recess to lunch, and she comes in there, and she yells at me in the lunchroom, and I just sit there. And then she was done, and she left, and I was like,
Still got to go
well, I
to
guess
recess.
there's no repercussions for that,
Yeah.
so here I am.
Yeah, still got to go. One time in 4th grade, I don't remember why it was such a panic, but they let out lunch to go to recess. Like, we went directly from lunch out into the front parking lot of the school and had recess, and we literally trampled my 4th grade teacher. The whole school. Which is to say, like 70 kids maybe.
70 kids all weighing,
She opened the double doors and we completely ran over her. Like, she was like holding on to it, and there were just kids running over her. And I was like, this isn't going to be good. Because we had to go back to her class.
Oh.
And we went back to her class, and we all sat down, and she sat down, and nobody said anything for the rest of the day. The rest of the day. It was 4
Like,
hours.
she's probably embarrassed. Like, if you just got trampled by
She did not
first
speak.
graders.
Nobody went to the bathroom. We all sat at our desks for 4 more hours. I read a book.
It was 4 hours?
Yes, it was.
Oh, my God.
We got back at like noon.
Yeah, you're right.
12:30.
Yeah, lunch and recess.
It was
Yeah.
really traumatizing.
The band rave.
The infamous band room rave.
Yeah, very
At
infamous.
Central
band
Junior High
room
School.
rave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we were going a different direction. I thought there was a
No.
rave y'all went to.
No.
Okay. Now I'm ready.
We
Oh,
did
and-
DJ a party one time,
Yeah,
but
it was legitimate.
We DJ'd
So
already.
we are surprisingly, I was not a part of this. Very surprisingly, we had a sub, and it was like right after a concert, so we weren't doing anything in band.
the worst sub.
Yeah,
We'll
the
just go
worst.
ahead and say that.
And so, like, she was infamous. Everybody knew who she was. Everybody hated her. She was mean.
For band, you had a sub?
Yeah, one day. And so
They went to something. Did they go to like Midwest or something?
Probably.
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Anyway, so we had a few students who went into the percussion room, which was like the band room was set up, and then all the way on their side there was a room that was where all the drumline stuff and percussion stuff was. And so they went in there, and they literally just started like blasting music and like turning on and off the light and stuff like that. There were like maybe like 8 students in there.
It was when the iPhone that had the flashlight had just come out.
Yeah.
So they
4.
had a strobe light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
iPhone 4.
Yeah.
all I know is that the 2, I guess, kind of main students and Will
Trumpet players.
were the
culprits.
alleged culprits.
I got away with it though. I didn't rat myself out.
So,
But everybody ratted.
the other
I'm
two?
sure we can say it. They would admit
Yeah.
this. It was everybody ratted Bryant and Riley out.
Oh, I want. Yeah.
This is dumb. I don't feel bad saying their names. This is so dumb that they got in trouble for this. Everybody ratted Bryant and Riley out, and me and Raul had also been in there, and also like half of the band had gone into the room and just danced around and then walked out.
So that was a problem.
I was in there for like 10 seconds, and she didn't make a big deal out of it. The class ended, and then apparently she wrote a detailed report of it with everybody's names, and then they got in trouble when the teachers came back.
Shelby. Was
And
it Shelby?
Kavanaugh.
God, dude.
She's on Facebook now. Did she add you?
No, I don't know.
She
I
add
never,
you? Are
I
you
never
friends?
had her, dude.
Dude, we're buddies.
So the only
Yeah, Charlie's not been able to contribute a lot
Yeah, I've got a story about how I got in trouble once.
by the teacher. Your dad.
Well, no, this is actually so. Believe it or not, we do socialize. Every month we had a homeschool group that we got together.
With half of the Duggars. Continue.
It was in Huntsville, and it was at the skating rink, so we'd just hang out. We'd do all kinds of stuff every week. At the skating rink, there was a payphone. And did you guys know that without money, you can call 911?
Yes, I did know
Yeah, I
this.
think you've said something about this
Yeah,
before.
I didn't know about that. So I picked it up. I dialed 911. I heard someone answer. I'm like, oh crap.
I've heard
I
this.
hung it up and I ran away, right?
Don't they call back?
They called
I'm
back.
ruining the story. Sorry.
Yeah, probably. I don't know if
Well,
I've
Will
told this
hasn't
on
heard
here.
it, but just give the audience another
They
listen.
called back the number because that's what they do, the dispatch, whenever they get a hang up like that, they
Yeah.
call back. One of the moms picked it up and talked to them. And they're like, we just got a 911 call from here. We just want to make sure everything's okay. And she's like, yeah, there's nothing going on. They called everybody together. And they're like, we just got a call from 911 on the payphone. Somebody called them. Who was it?
And you were like, that don't sound like me.
No, yeah, exactly. I wasn't going to say anything. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, one of my friends on the other side, he's like, I think I saw Charlie over there at the payphone. I'm like, dude,
What do you have to gain?
dude, why? Why?
And you just stood up and you're like, actually, I saw him at the payphone.
Okay, what's ironic and not ironic. No, it's really ironic. The dude that ratted me out, he's a Benton County sheriff now.
Oh wow.
Of course.
All right.
Narc.
It's a narc. Yeah,
I've got-
you should be like, he dialed it. I just held the phone and dragged him down with you.
Goody
got-
two shoes
But
narc.
the way that I had to make up for it is my mom made me at our next gathering of everybody that was there, I had to publicly apologize
Oh, nice.
to everybody because
so much
I
worse.
had to admit that I was the one that called 911 and I had to publicly apologize. It was the worst.
That's worse
I
than
got-
any
It
punishment.
was so bad.
I got a good story that we can probably wrap things up on.
Okay.
So, when I was in elementary, 2nd or 3rd grade, I think it was 2nd grade. Mind you, I was private schooled until halfway through 2nd grade. So, I think it was like my first semester there. Anyway, we were all...
Bunch of good, smart kids in here.
Yeah.
Except
My parents never had money, so I wasn't private schooled or homeschooled or anything.
Anyway, listen, that's not the point. We were in the library, and we would always go to the library like once a week and like, I don't know, do activities with the librarian. I don't know, it was whatever. Anyway, we would all sit. There was like a corner of the library where she had her chair. She would either like read to us or something. We would all sit on the ground or against the wall. So I'm sitting there and try to give a visual. I was sitting on the ground, back against the wall, with like my legs up. You know, I can't do it in this chair, but you know,
I got it.
my knees are up. You know, and like out of nowhere, dude, I just rip a fart. I didn't feel it coming. Okay, it was loud.
That.
It was loud. Okay, and
that.
so what happened was, it went off, and then everyone looks back at me, and then I look at the dude next to me.
very good.
Like I didn't like move like I did it. I didn't like do like this or anything. I immediately do just stone cold. I was like,
Yes.
yeah. So everyone thought it was him. That was great.
Narc.
You gotta be quick on your feet on this world, dude.
And with that,
All right, boys.
yeah.
We'll see y'all next week.
Sorry if the video portion ends up being short.
Yeah.
We had some technical difficulties. We don't know what it looks like yet. It might not be.
Yeah, it was technically
not be.
difficult.
It is technically difficult.
Yeah.
And,
All right. Peace with the
Uh,
geese.
subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes.
Hit the bell for notifications.